Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever the case may be. We are talking about more surface area questions. So, for example, the question we have here says a skyscraper is a rectangular prism. So, there was no picture here. The first thing that I did was draw a sketch of a rectangular prism with a height of 398 meters. Now, remember the height of a prism, usually we use capital H to represent the height of a three-dimensional shape. I also highlighted orange, personal choice, not required. And then we have the bases are squares with sides that are 62 meters. What's the surface area of the skyscraper? So your base can either be the top or the bottom, since we defined the height as being top to bottom. The bases actually have to be at the top or at the bottom. So I can highlight it green, and the area of the base I usually highlight yellow. So now that I've got my picture all labeled, first thing I need is the area of the base. So if the area of the base is a square, I'm going to do side squared. Area of the base is going to be 62 squared, which is 3,844 meters squared. I also need the perimeter of the base, and it's a square, so all four sides are 62, making the perimeter 248 meters. Last, the height right here, 398 meters. If you are color coding and that's something that's working for you, the area of the base was yellow, the height orange, and the perimeter green. Not a bad idea to keep yourself organized. Then we're going to look for surface area now that we've collected our information. So surface area is 2 times the area of the base plus the perimeter times the height. In this case, that would be 2 times the area of the base, 3,844 plus the perimeter, 248 times the height, 398. And the 2 times the area of the base is 7,688 plus the perimeter times the height, 98,704, making the total surface area 106,392 meters squared. Now, don't forget meters squared because it's surface area. We're talking about area, two-dimensional space. And that question is done. What is the surface area of the skyscraper? Now, we are assuming that we were including the base on that. If you were not, and you were only talking about the 4 sides of the skyscraper and the roof of the skyscraper, you could, if not including the base, you would have to subtract the area of the base. You'd have to subtract one base 3,844. Or back up here, instead of doing 2 times 3,844, you could have just done 1 times 3,844. A flower pot is approximately the shape of a cylinder. The diameter is 10 inches and the height is 6 inches. Find the surface area of the flower pot. Now, what you're going to find is that I'm immediately going to label the height as 6 inches, but instead of labeling the diameter 10 inches, I'm going to label the radius. And the reason for that is the formula for surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. And you'll notice there's no d, there's no diameter asked for. So I'm going to label the radius as 5 inches instead of labeling the diameter as 10 inches. Next, it's a flower pot. And in order for it to be a flower pot, it's got to have no lid. It's got to have somewhere for the flowers to go. So because it has no lid, we're going to do kind of what we were just talking about at the top. The surface area is only going to be 1 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. The only thing that changes is this 1 because it's only one circle. So instead of having 2 areas of a circle, we only have 1 area of a circle, the one that's on the bottom. So now we're going to do surface area equals pi, I'll switch that to approximately 3.14 times the radius, which is 5 squared, plus 2 times pi, 3.14 times the radius 5 times the height 6. Now remember when we're doing this, we can solve for the 2 sides of the addition separately because we've got multiplication on the left and multiplication on the right. We do have to find 3.14 times 25. Some people will split this up and do the second half all in the same step when they do the 25. Doesn't really matter. 3.14 times the 25 is 78.5 plus, and then the 2 times pi times the radius times the height is 188.4, leaving me with a surface area of approximately 266.9 inches squared. And remember, that is for only one base. This flower pot does not have a lid. The last one that we're going to talk about is a composite figure. And composite figures can get a little bit tricky. They are made up of more than one solid. Finding the surface area of a composite figure means that you have to pay attention to faces that are not exposed. So before on the flower pot, we had to sort of say, hey, what if there's no lid? Well, in this case, we're going to have some faces where this triangular prism on the top is touching the rectangular prism, and we'll have to pay attention to that when we get to the end. So first, we've got the triangular prism that's on the top. So I would label the base as the triangle, and I would say that is my 1/2 times b times h. I would also have to say, what's the perimeter of that triangle? And I might do that off to the side here, like the perimeter of this triangle is what plus what plus what. I know that this is 13, and I know that this is 13, but I don't know what this is down here. So I would have to look at this 12, 13, and then how long is this missing side? Now, I happen to notice that it's a Pythagorean triple. It's the 5, 12, 13. If you don't notice that, 12 squared plus x squared equals 13 squared, and you can solve for that missing side x, which is 5, meaning the entire base is 10. So the perimeter is going to be 13 plus 13 plus 10 with the aid of the Pythagorean theorem. So the perimeter of that base is going to be 33 feet. All right. Nope, sorry, 36. Whew, having an addition problem today, 36 feet. So now when I go back over here, the surface area is 2 times the triangular base, 1/2 times 10 times the height, 12. Notice I needed the 10 for the base of the triangle. I needed the 12 for the height of the triangle. They make a right angle. Plus the perimeter that I just found, 36, times the height. Now the height of that prism goes from front to back because the base is in the front. So from front to back, you'll notice this one is labeled 12, which means this one is also 12. So times the height, 12. So that is this little length right here is your height of the triangular prism. All right, so the surface area of the triangular prism, 2 times. This one is going to be 60. And on either side of the either side of the addition, I'm going to have 120 plus 432, leaving me with a surface area of 552 feet squared. That is for the triangular prism. Now, as luck would have it, there is a second triangular prism down here on the bottom that has exactly the same dimensions. So that one also has a surface area of 552 feet squared. Last but not least is the rectangular prism in the middle. So this one that's in the middle, I'm going to do surface area equals 2 times the base plus perimeter times the height. I need the 10 from here, 10 from here, and then I need the depth, which was orange before. That depth is 12. That depth is 12. And I have an overall height of the rectangular prism of 14. So 2 times. The area of the base is a 10 by 12. When I look at that rectangular prism, I think of the top and the bottom as the bases. So 10 times 12 is the area of the base plus the perimeter. Now the perimeter is going to be 10 plus 12 plus 10 plus 12 because it's 10, 12, 10, 12 as you go around the base. That's going to be a perimeter of 44 times the overall height. In this one, the height is 14. So again, there's lots of pulling information and breaking things apart. If you want to, you could draw this little rectangular prism off to the side. Sometimes that helps. So this is 10, this is 12, this is 14. You could even then do your color coding if you needed to. in order to say, where's my base? I'm going to pretend that the top and the bottom are the base. I'm going to use this up and down part, the 14, for my height. That's where my numbers are coming from. And all I did was take this rectangular prism out of the center and redraw it off to the side. So it's going to be 2 times 12 times 10, which is 240, plus the 44 times the 14, which is 616. Overall surface area, 856 feet squared. So you're thinking, okay, in order to have the total surface area, I just have to add the 552, 552, and 856. So total surface area, 856 for the rectangular prism in the middle, and then there's two 552s. Now, the only catch there is that this triangular prism is sitting on top of this rectangular prism. There is a rectangle, a 10 by 12 rectangle on the bottom and a 10 by 12 rectangle on the top that are touching, that are not exposed. The same thing down here. There is a 10 by 12 rectangle that is on the bottom of the rectangular prism, and there's a 10 by 12 rectangle that's on top of the triangular prism. There are 4 non-exposed rectangles. So I'm going to say there are 4 10 by 12 rectangles. There are 4 groups of 120 or 480 feet squared that is not exposed. This will have to get subtracted. So I'm going to do this, right? The 856, the 552, the 552, and then I'm going to have to remember to take away the 480. Love my spacing on that one. Anyway, that's going to give you a total surface area of 1960, take away the 480 that's not exposed, or a total surface area of 1,480 feet squared. So lots of little steps, little pieces along the way. And so when I go through and I'm checking or grading something like this, I have to see your work, because I have to see, was the first prism found correctly? Was the second prism found correctly? Did this person add up all 3 of the prisms? Did they remember to subtract the non-exposed sides? If you made a mistake over here that was something silly, you might go, oh, geez, that's what it was. This one little tiny mistake out of all this work. They definitely don't deserve to lose full credit for that. So the more work you can show, the more opportunity I have to be able to check things and see where mistakes happen.